On June 6, 2022, the United States Federal Trade Commission unleashed a report in which it outlined how scammers and fraudsters had incurred well over $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency losses and funds stolen. According to their report, approximately 25% of all dollars that were considered stolen or lost because of fraud were due to cryptocurrency fraud. Now, most of these were men aged 25 to 40 years old. And the most widely reported cryptocurrencies that were reported lost or stolen were Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT. Now, the majority of this included things like investment fraud. And as a response, the FTC has announced that they are hiring 12 new employees simply to cover the cryptocurrency fraud issue. But that $1 billion is but a single drop in the bucket, a very small fraction compared to the amount of cryptocurrency value that had been lost, stolen, or suppressed in the past year alone. In fact, that $1 billion represents less than 1% of what this cryptocurrency tyrant has actually done to the market. Now, who is this tyrant? It is the United States SEC. So in this video, I'm going to outline exactly how the SEC has caused hundreds of billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency market loss, and as John Deaton, who is representing 72,000 XRP holders and is going after the SEC, correctly asserts, it is the SEC who has caused investors the most problems and the most losses in the last year, and has caused cryptocurrency holders to be the ones holding the bags. Now let's start with the SEC's failure to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. So far, there have been dozens of applications that have been rejected for Bitcoin spot ETFs. Now, these include huge companies such as Fidelity, One River, ARK Invest, was run by Cathie Wood, Skybridge, run by Anthony Scaramucci, WisdomTree, Van Eck, ProShares, Gemini, Bitwise, and the biggest player of them all, Grayscale. Their current Bitcoin trust is a futures-based Bitcoin trust, and currently it's one of the largest ones out there. But who really cares? Because the SEC would rather approve a futures-based Bitcoin trust, because the SEC would rather approve a gambling-based Bitcoin trust rather than a trust that would allow custody of the actual asset. And upon its rejection of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust application, Grayscale launched its own lawsuit against the SEC. And it assumed the rejection was coming because it literally dropped this lawsuit a few days after the rejection. Grayscale is actually launching this lawsuit because it's trying to prove the extreme bias and baselessness of which the SEC is actually rejecting these Bitcoin ETFs, specifically the Grayscale one. The SEC asserted that Grayscale's plan to list the Bitcoin Trust on the NICE didn't do enough to prevent fraud and manipulation. Now, Grayscale concluded with its discussions with the SEC that a spot Bitcoin Trust would unlock approximately $8 billion worth of value to its investors. So the rejection of that right there has already caused over $8 billion worth of price suppression or market loss to the crypto world. And as of right now, the Grayscale CEO said he expects an answer to the case against the SEC to be answered at some point in the next year. That'll be an ongoing story I will be keeping track of. So if you're keeping track of things right now, it's scammers and fraudsters, $1 billion, SEC, $8 billion. Now let's unwrap one of my favorite topics here, and that is the case of the price suppression against XRP, with the SEC's case against Ripple, claiming that Ripple sold XRP as an unregulated securities offering. Now, there have been many videos and many stories and many reasons why this case is actually 100% the reason that there's been major price suppression of the XRP coin. First of all, it caused many delistings globally, at least on the biggest exchanges in the globe, preventing its users and buyers from actually getting it. Not only that, it caused confusion, it caused worry among institutional buyers that didn't want their millions or billions of dollars going to XRP, which potentially could be considered a security by the SEC. So far in this lawsuit, billions of dollars of market value losses have been incurred. Now, specifically regarding XRP and its price suppression because of the Ripple versus the SEC case, there's a YouTuber known as the Blockchain Backer. He did an analysis approximately 9 months ago as to why XRP has been suppressed, some say on purpose, due to the SEC and its supporters of this lawsuit against Ripple, which of course caused mass confusion in the financial world. In his video, he systematically goes through all of the analytics, all of the timeframes, all of the timelines, and all of the backstory regarding the SEC's case against Ripple and the effect that it had on the perceived value or use case of XRP, causing its value to not be able to participate in the massive bull run that Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency world went on during that time frame. Now, I will link in the description below a link to that video, and if you haven't been paying attention to this channel and all my videos, I've actually linked to that video, that XRP price suppression video, in every single one of my videos on this channel. So if you haven't watched it, even though it's 9 months old, it is still 100% spot on in its assertions. And even though Bitcoin is worth far less than it was then, we can still do some deductions in terms of what XRP and the market value losses could have been incurred since then. Now, at the time of that video, his analysis and his assessment was that XRP would have likely been $10 plus at the peak of the Bitcoin bull run. Now, if we do some mathematics, we can figure out that would have made a market cap of nearly $590 billion of market cap. Now, even though Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market has dropped approximately 83% since then, we can see that compared to the market cap that it has now and the market cap that it could have had without this price suppression in the case against Ripple, there was a literal $75 billion differential that we can chalk up to the SEC's case causing in price suppression and thus lost value to the XRP holders, which brings me back to what John Deaton has correctly asserted, and that the SEC has caused investors more pain and more losses than any other scam or project out there. Now, John Deaton actually refers to approximately a $15 billion loss, specifically because the SEC went after all secondary market sales of XRP instead of just going after its two executives and Ripple, the company, and saying just those specific sales could be illegal unregistered securities offerings. The SEC is claiming that all XRP are illegal securities offerings. Now, I think it's a lot more than a $15 billion loss, but these are the numbers. And now I'm going to be talking about what the biggest market share theft could actually happen if Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, continues his regulation by enforcement philosophy and goes after one of the most polarizing projects in all of cryptocurrency, Ethereum. If you've been following the case of Ripple versus the SEC, we know that some of the backstories don't add up as to why the SEC gave a free pass to Ethereum and not to XRP. Now, as we know, Ethereum had its ICO. We know Ethereum had venture capitalists meet with SEC chairman back in 2018 and gave some of its thoughts on decentralization, on how something, even though it could be a security, can transform into a non-security because of its sufficient decentralization. Well, those ideas made it into Bill Hinman's speech back in 2018, in which he gave Ethereum a free pass, as well as Bitcoin, but pretty much nobody else. Now that Ethereum got its free pass, is it likely or unlikely that the SEC could actually go after Ethereum, Consensus, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, or even JP Morgan for illegal securities offerings of Ethereum during their ICO, in which could be construed as an illegal securities offering? Well, let's backtrack a little bit, because Gary Gensler wasn't the head of the SEC back in 2018, although he was familiar with venture capitalists meeting with the SEC. In several interviews before he became chairman of the SEC, he discussed the fact that those meetings took place and he was well aware of it. He's also made mention in several other videos that he doesn't believe that there is such a thing as sufficient decentralization, and that cryptocurrency, just because it uses a different technology, doesn't escape the possibility of it being a security. In fact, he calls most cryptocurrencies a security at this point. So is the likelihood of the SEC utilizing enforcement actions to go after Ethereum and what that could actually do to the rest of the market? If that were the case, Gary Gensler and the SEC could throw a gigantic monkey wrench into the financial world, and we're talking everything that is included in the Ethereum ecosystem. Ethereum, its new merge, DeFi, all of its metaverse tokens, as well as Consensus, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and even JP Morgan, who owns a vast majority of all of that. Now, if Gary Gensler's SEC would actually take regulation by enforcement to a new level and go after Ethereum and all of its ecosystem and all of its assets. Right now, as it stands, if you talk about the Bitcoin ETF rejections, if you talk about the Ripple versus the SEC case and the price suppression that it caused XRP, and if we talk about the potential for regulation by enforcement to go after one of the biggest projects in all of cryptocurrency, the losses could be incalculable. Now, is there anything that any of us can actually do about it? Well, yes, because right now there is a midterm election coming up in the United States in November. What you can do is put those in power that would absolutely put Gary Gensler and other SEC members on the hot seat on a weekly basis, having them answer for the things that they've done. They need to be answering some very tough questions, and a lot of the stuff that I brought up in this video, as well as a lot of other stuff, including past actions by SEC members, should absolutely be questioned. And we're talking conflicts of interest, potential corruption, as well as having deep conversations as to why the CFTC should in fact be the ones to regulate the cryptocurrency space. Please do your due diligence and look to vote for those who would put this in its proper place. So if you are purchasing or investing or trading any cryptocurrencies, make sure to stay updated on all of these stories. Subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. So if you are new to this channel, I'd appreciate you considering subscribing to the channel. Also, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.